everyone! So for today's video, I wanted to talk about books that I didn't really like or things I didn't really like in books. And I realized there's this unpopular book opinions tag, bookish opinions tag, which is perfect for today's video. So that's what we are doing. I tend to not talk about the books I didn't like or the things in books I didn't like, just to give more room to the things I actually love and share the passion for them. But I realized, let's make things a bit more interesting here. So without further ado, let's just start with the first question, which is a popular book or series that you didn't like. And I actually could not settle with just one answer for this because I need to tell you about these books that I really didn't like, and I don't see how they are so popular and so famous and so beloved. So the first book that I have is A Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. This is such a beloved classic. I mean, there's a group of people that doesn't like it, but unlike the majority, they very much enjoyed it and found it like relatable and moving and touching. I read it and I could not understand what is so special about it. I can't even tell you what it's about. I know there's this like high school student, I think. No, I think so, or college. I can't even recall that. And he just does some weird things, and I know there's some lake at the end and a pond or something with his sister, and he just goes to different places and he thinks about how stupid things are, and it was just so angsty for me to read. I cannot tell you what is special about that book. Maybe I should reread it, possibly, but I really do not want to, and I'm not looking forward to it. The next book I really have to talk about is Icy London, Icy France by Sarah Aronofsky. And this is a book that I heard in some booktubers' recommendation, and I decided to read it because it sounded like this really cool travel novel about going to France and going to England, and I just really love these two places in the world, and it sounded very exciting and interesting. It just seemed very like fake to me, and it's a book about two girls who travel through Europe together, and one has a mom who's ill in some way. It sounds fun, but the adventures they had to me were very vain and very shallow. They just got high in some places and found some guys. I just did not enjoy this book at all. Yeah, that's just it. And the last book I would really like to mention here, and I hope you don't hate me for it, is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. And this is a book that is loved in the book community. It's being made into a graphic novel, which I'm actually excited for, because the story of this one is a bit different. I appreciate the value and the content, and I see how people love it. It just was very much not for me. I did not connect with any character, and I found it to be very superficial and kind of repetitive with the ideas and not very original, which I guess is because I read it way later than it was published. When it was first published, it was probably like this revolutionary book with great ideas and grand new promises for book readers or anything like that, but when I picked it up, it wasn't that unique and it didn't really stand out to me anymore, so I did not finish it. And yeah, I just really wanted to mention Fangirl because I feel like I'm not on board this fandom, this book train, and I don't feel good about that. I'm gonna try to get on board it, but not anytime soon. Question number 2 is a popular book or series that everyone seems to hate but you love. I thought about the books that my family doesn't really like, and everyone I spoke with about this book did not really enjoy it except my grandma. And that's Anne of the Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery, which is a book I've talked about on this channel quite a lot because I really love it, but I can't seem to find a person to share this love with except my grandma, because my mom said it was boring, my sister said it was boring, and a few people that I tried to give it to said it was boring. This book follows a girl who is orphaned and goes to a family. At first she's not accepted by them because she's a girl, they wanted a boy, and then she is, and she's lovely, and she changes people's lives for the better, and she's amazing and charming and a wonderful character that I always aspire to be and admire a lot. But somehow people did not share this opinion with me. I think it's unfair. I think it's lovely. I will stick to this opinion forever because it sort of changed my life. So yeah, third question is a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person you didn't want them to end up with, or an OTP you didn't like. And I thought about this long and hard for around 2 minutes because I could not figure out whether I read a book like that. Because if I read books with love triangles, and I really don't like love triangles, they were done very well. And so I'm leaving this question unanswered. Question number 4 is the popular book genre that you hardly reach for. This is a no-brainer, and that is the romance genre. I do not like to read about romance as a main theme in books. It usually bothers me a lot and it bores me at some point. If it's just like a side plot, that's okay. If it's well done, that's great. That's awesome. Then I really like it. But it's really hard for me to enjoy a book that is solely based on some romance aspect. Exceptions to this, however, are if it's a graphic novel, because that I can deal with for some reason, because it's just usually done in a great way. It's just different. But like in novels or in series, I don't read romance. Question number 5 is a popular or beloved character that you do not like, and that's gonna be a bit controversial. I have 2 characters that I really want to talk about. And the first one is a character from one of my favorite series of all time, and that is Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo with Crooked Kingdom, the second book in the duology. So the character I want to talk about is Inesh. And okay, it's not like I really don't like her. I wasn't a fan of her, and that's just it. There were other characters that I loved much more, and she was just always like, okay. I had a lot of trouble with actually accepting her as a character, as part of this group, because she just didn't really fit in my opinion. For me, I don't know why. I can't explain it rationally, but I just did not like her that much. But if you haven't read this book yet, let me tell you quickly what it's about. It's about a group of 6 criminals that are trying to break into one of the most protected like castle things in this imaginary amazing fantasy world of the Grisha, and basically that is what they are trying to do. I am so sorry for the noise if you can hear it. And the second character I really want to mention, which pains me a lot to say it, because she's part of one of my favorite series of all time, one of my favorite trilogies, and probably my favorite trilogy of all time, and that's The Darkest Shade of Magic by V.A. Schwab, and the character is Lila Bard. Woo! There are 4 like alternate Londons, different dimensions or whatever you're gonna call it, and there's a bunch of characters who are trying to save the world because the plague from Black London, which killed everyone and destroyed the whole world, is spreading onto other Londons, and there's chaos everywhere, and they're trying to save the world. It's really cool, highly recommended. Characters fantastic, plot fantastic, and writing incredible. So yeah, but Lila Bard, let's talk about Lila Bard, because I had a lot of trouble with her. I would often find myself thinking like, do I like her or do I not? Do I not like her because she is similar to me? Is she too similar to me, or is she too similar to someone I want to become? But many times I was just like, what are you doing? Can you stop it? You're being stupid. You're being too dramatic. Please stop. And maybe the flaws she has are the flaws that I share, that I would rather not see. So, you know, that's a whole psychological thing. But just saying, I could not fully appreciate her and admire her as much as I had wanted to. So yeah, I just had to say it because it has been bothering me for years. Question number 6 is a popular author that you can't seem to get into. And that is Cassandra Clare, surprisingly. There are many fans of Cassandra Clare, and many people are a bit skeptical about her. I read one trilogy that was gifted to me partially by a friend, and that is The Infernal Devices, which actually are right here in a very special place. Oh gosh. Yeah, they were awesome, and I loved this trilogy. However, I never felt the need to read other books by her. I'm not really such a fan of the concept of the Shadowhunters. It's fun, but it's not my favorite vision of the world, so I just can't seem to get into her books. 7, a popular book trope that you're tired of seeing, and for this one, the first one that came to mind is the chosen one trope. When it's done well, and in a funny way, like with Rick Riordan's books, for example, which I really love, I enjoy it a lot. But many times it's done in this way, like, oh, you're special. No way. I'm not special. I'm no one. I'm nothing. No one sees me. No one cares about me. I'm lonely. I'm an outsider. Everyone hates me and I'm useless and I can just go die. And then they turn out to be the person to save the entire world. And I don't mind reading about a journey to self-love and self-care, but not in this annoying way. And in many books it's done in a very generic and annoying way that actually bothers me a lot. Question 8 is a common series that you have no interest in reading. And the first book series that came to my mind, which is among the many book series, is A City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. And as I said, this is an author that I appreciate, and I appreciate her writing, but I just don't feel the need to read other books by her. I enjoyed the one trilogy that I read, and I think it's enough to satiate my desire for this world so far, as of now. So yeah, the saying goes, the book is always better than the movie. But what movie or TV show adaptation do you prefer more than the book? This is an interesting question, and the answer is Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I think that's what it is. I have a collection of the first 3 books in here. When I was little, I really loved the first book and I reread it twice. But then I got to the second book and I was like, this is so boring. And then I think I started the third one, I just couldn't get through it. I was like, no, I can't do it. And then I watched the movies and I loved them. These are one of my favorite movies of all time. It feels a bit embarrassing to say this because there are so many fans of the books and they say it's like, oh, that's such a great childhood series, and they loved the books, but I did not, and I very much preferred the movies. But I have been planning to reread the series to understand what's happening and know all the little details and be a fan of the book this time around, hopefully. So yeah. So yeah, I think that's it. I think these are all the questions we answered, and we went through all the questions, which is great. There are more books, certainly, that I should talk about that I did not really enjoy. Just to share my opinion, because I really need to hear other people's opinions that are similar to mine to know that I'm not alone in not liking a specific book. So I'd really like to know, what is a book or a book series that you really do not like and everyone else around you seems to love it, because this is such an infuriating feeling that I can totally understand. And I'd really like to hear the book that makes you feel that way. So yeah, let me just finish as always. I hope you're doing well. I hope your reading is going well. Mine's not, because life's a mess and I'm a mess and reading is a mess. But I hope yours is going better, and I hope to see you soon in the next video, and bye!